What's going on, people? It's your boy BSG. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day, right? Those of you who have been holding, you've been having some days. You've been having some fantastic days, right? I know I'm having a fantastic day today. Want to get into some things, man. There's amongst all the cryptocurrencies, there's one in particular that's getting everybody's attention right now. I'm gonna talk about that, but first I got to talk about some stuff, man, that just, trying to bring it all together, trying to bring it all home, trying to get people to understand what my mission has been, because days like this remind me of what why I started this channel and what my goal was, what my original goal was when I started this channel. You know what I'm saying? So I want to show y'all some things, right? Why I have been preaching long-term mindset, long-term mentality, long-term holding. Why have I been preaching that? Okay. So I want to just start with something that all of you are familiar with. Clearly, you have heard people talk about it, right? And I'm going to start in the year 2017, around this time, around October, right? Right. And there's a reason why I'm starting there. Just bear with me. So gold around that time was around $1,200, $1,300. Okay. About 8 years ago, not quite 8 years ago, October 2017, gold was 12 something, right? If you had put $1,000 into that, right? 8 years ago, right now, you would have about $3,400, $3,300, somewhere in there. Okay, that's good. Okay, hey, that's nice now. $3,300 in 8 years from $1,000 invested. That's good. Okay. Let's go back a little bit here. Let's see how far we can go back. Did I have a chance to become a millionaire from $1,000 with gold? So basically, I need 1,000x. So $4,000 now, gold all-time high, right? Today, woohoo, all-time high. So I need to go at what? $444? Is that right? No, really? Okay. I don't think we're gonna find $4, right? $400 is 2003. Okay, so 22 years, and y'all know I hate this. Y'all know I hate this trading view. 22 years it would take for you to turn that $1,000 into $100,000. 22 years. Okay, but we're trying to get to what did I say? No. What am I talking about? $1,000 into $10,000. That what I said? That's 10x. To get a 10x, it would have took 22 years. Okay, and now we're trying to find $40, which would give us 100x. Okay, let's see if we can find 40 real quick. Come on. Is it there? Is it there? Is it there? I don't. Oh boy, we're in the 90s now. Still can't find $40. How far does this go back? We're in the 80s now. Oh Lord. It's going higher. We're in the 80s. Will we ever get to $40? And I'm not going back before it is, because this is before I was born. Okay? All right. So 10x on gold. Somewhere between 20 and 30 years or something like that. Not bad, okay? Your $1,000 is $10,000. after 30 years. Congratulations. Okay. Let's go to Google now. Yeah, I knew y'all was going to do that. Google. And I'm just going for right now, I'm just going to stick to this 2017 time because there's a reason, there's a particular reason why I'm looking for that. All right, so here we go again, around October, November 2017. Yes. Google was $51. Today is $248.49, so like a 5x. So your $1,000 would be $5,000. Okay, for holding for 8 years. $1,000 into $5,000. 8 years. Okay, right? I'm just gonna stick to that because I don't want to get caught up in when it could have been. Let's at least find the 10x point. Okay, here we are in 2015, right? January 2015, it was $25. So your 10x point is somewhere here. So $1,000 here, 10 years would be $10,000. Okay, we're doing better than gold, right? Can we see when? I'm just curious. We're not going to go back further than this. All right. Well, we can't even find it. So 10 years, 10x. Okay. What if we had just invested in, and I thought I picked, and I know I did, the NASDAQ. Okay. The NASDAQ. Let's do that. It's 24,000. Wow. 24,000. I remember when a commercial came out and the commercial was like, what will the price of NASDAQ be? Make a prediction and you could win. Da, 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 da. I remember that commercial. And so the prediction that the commercial made itself was like, if you guess the right price of NASDAQ by this day, the prediction that it made was 2,000. The NASDAQ hitting 2,000. Now, at that time, 2,000 seemed like it was far away. So I'm going to take you back to when that is, right? Because you see we're at 24,000 now. All right. So that must have been like up in here, 2009, 1100, like I think it was like 1500 or something. So it could 2009, something like that. What will the price of NASDAQ be? And it said 2,000, and we weren't 2,000 yet. And I just remember thinking, man, that is a high number. Okay, well, you can see that was 2009, 10, 11, right? $1,000 invested into NASDAQ then, right? Which is NASDAQ. That's where all the hot companies have come. Right, all the tech companies, all the innovation, everything, and this is the aggregator of all of that technology, right? If you invested $1,000 then, you'd be sitting on a little bit more than $10,000, $11,000 now, after 13, 14, 15 years of holding. Okay, there's no point where this turns into what I'm getting ready to show you. So let me just get to that. All right. So y'all know about this. I've talked about it many times. And I just want to go back to the beginning, as I have before, and show you, right, that you had a chance to get this thing. I'm just going to say it from the day that I had a chance to get it, which was 23 cents. But I bought it for $1, right? But according to CoinGecko, you had a chance to get it for 5 cents or 10 cents. I don't know about that. The founder got it for 10 cents. We're just going to go from $1. Okay? If you invested $1,000 into BNB, right? In October 2017. Okay, there you go right there. Before November 1st. That $1,000 that you invested would now be worth at the time of this video, $1.27 million. 8 years ago. Not even. $1,000 into BNB at $1. Right? In fact, $1,000 invested when I had a chance to invest was 23 cents. I guess that would have been like 5 or 6 million, but we ain't going to talk about that. Right? We also not going to talk about the fact that I wanted to sell my house and buy 80,000 BNB. We ain't going to talk about that. We going to let that die. We going to let that go one day. Not today, but one day we going to let that go. But $1,000. I had $1,000. I invested more than $1,000. Right? And a whole lot of people had $1,000. I'm using $1,000 because I believe everybody, right? For the most part, if you're not in a war-torn country right now, which regrettably a lot of people are, right? If that's not you, then you've had $1,000 at some point. Okay, and that's why I use that number. $1,000 is not even a serious investment. It's just let's see what happened, right? I was watching a YouTube video today, which was very funny. This YouTuber took a robot to the hood. Right? And saw how the hood reacted to the robot. And he tried to put some Yeezys on the robot. Right? Which, he was successfully able to do. But the robot didn't like it. He couldn't walk. Right? This is a walking, talking robot, can interact with you. All of that. I was amazed. Anyway, the Yeezys that he bought this robot was $1,500. He spent $1,500 on the Yeezys for the robot. The robot didn't like him because he couldn't walk well. And he ended up leaving the Yeezys, I think, on the side of the road, or he said he was going to donate them or something like that. $1,500. Right? Y'all done spent $1,500 on outfits, on clothes, on dates, on different things. So that's why I say $1,000. Really not a lot of money, y'all. Okay? $1,000 buying BNB at $1, which everybody had a chance to do if they knew about it, right, is now over $1.27 million. And it took less than 8 years. Okay? Compare that to what we've just seen. I don't want to click on it because I know the ad is there. Compare that to turning 1,000 into 10,000 for NASDAQ in 10 years or something, right? Google 1,000 into 6,000 in the same amount of time, 8 years or whatever. Gold, what did that take? 20, 30 years or something, right? And let's check out Bitcoin. Okay. And let's see how long that took, right? Y'all know when I got in, but we gonna look after that, right? Anytime here, 2014, right? Look at this, 2015, $260. Okay. If we just that's where we at exactly 10 years. Let's do it the same. Right? 10 years, okay, $270. So that's like a 50x. Right? Am I right? No, that's more than a 50x. What am I talking about? Because 1,000 to 100, that's 100. That's 120x right there. So that's 400 something. So yeah, so there we go. You could have bought 4 Bitcoin basically, right? You would have 480,000. Look at there. Okay, Bitcoin was 5,000 something, right? You wouldn't have been able to buy a full Bitcoin. You can only buy like 0.2 or something Bitcoin, right? Which is crazy. That's just a few years. You could have bought 4. Now you're only able to buy 0.2 in a few years, right? See how that works when you procrastinate? But still, 0.2 Bitcoin, 24,000, somewhere in there, right? Still beating everything that we just talked about. Okay? What's my point in all this? It should be clear. This is why I've been preaching crypto. This is why I've been like, yo, you gotta get into crypto, because I've studied this before. I've studied this before. When I kept trading and I kept losing, right? Making money, lose money, make money, lose money, just keeping it real. I was making money, but then I would lose it, right? I won on most of my trades, just keeping it real. So when I had finally got tired of losing, right, I went back and studied, first of all, the things that I was in. And I was trading NASDAQ. I was trading Netflix and Apple and Google and Amazon when they were young companies, early companies, especially Netflix. I was trading Netflix for pennies, literal pennies, right? And I went back and looked at that. And, I said, wow, I was trading Netflix for pennies. Now Netflix is like $10, $12. Man, if I had just held to $12, I would have been in a much better place. If I had just held Tesla, right? I was trading Tesla. And the reason why I'm saying pennies, guys, because there's been stock splits, right? You have to understand stock splits. In real life, Netflix was like $20. But in actuality, based on today's price, it was pennies. I had Tesla for dollars, a couple dollars. And I'm trading Tesla. I'm trading these, what would become revolutionary companies. Now, did I know they would become revolutionary? No. But I didn't give them a chance to find out. Right? So when I did that, and I looked at this and I looked at everything else and I spent a lot of time, I'm like, you know what? Holding is the answer. Holding is the key. And so it was when I went into a Chili's and I talked to this young man. I asked everybody, did they know about Bitcoin? And everybody said no. But this guy said, yeah, he was a bartender. I was getting carry out. I don't drink. I'm just letting y'all know. But you know how you got to go to the bar to order your food, right? Because I didn't want to pay no tip, right? So I'm like, you know about Bitcoin? He was like, yeah. I'm like, did you buy Bitcoin? It's like, yeah. I'm like excited. I'm like, yeah. And I'm giving him dap. I'm like, that's what's up, man. I'm like, yeah. So, this is what I think long term, so on and so forth. He was like, well, yeah, I bought it at $400, but I sold it at $440. My whole mood changed, bro. I'm like, bro, man, just give me my food, man. Give me my food, bro. You got Bitcoin at $400, you sell at $440. Right? That was around the time where I started my channel. I'm like, people need to know that success is long term. Now, here's the thing. I didn't have success yet. But I had the formula because I studied. I'm like, how did people get rich? Well, they just held. That's it. Yeah, they didn't like build no incredible businesses and nope. Did they all go to college? No. They just did nothing. Right? So my whole reasoning for starting the channel, my reasoning for starting courses and different things, my message has always been the same. Just hold, and just all the rich people, hell, so this is what you need to do. Right? And one of my main positions has always been BNB. I'm like, yo, y'all, I think this could be $300 one day. Now, I'm telling y'all these numbers for a reason. I have told you many times, I am an expert when it comes to getting in. Right? I get in early, boy. I know how to get in something. But I am not an expert when it comes to getting out. And I doubt that anybody will say, hey, I cheated getting out of BNB at $600 and something. Because I bought at $1. Right? I bought at $1. But perhaps instead of focusing on the dollar amount, and this is the point, maybe you should focus on the time. And not the time that it takes you to become a millionaire, but well, actually, how much time have I spent in this thing? If you become a millionaire in 2 to 3 years, that is not the time to pull out like, whoa, I became a millionaire in 2 to 3. That's the time to question, well, wait a minute. If I've made this much in this amount of time, what is it going to be another 3 years, another 4 years? What is it going to be? And this is the fundamental mentality, okay? Trigger warning. Here you go, right? Somebody about to get offended. Here it is. This is the fundamental philosophy to every broke person, is that you always focus on the number. You don't focus on what it is or what it could be. That's the thing. I was focusing on the number when I was trading all those years ago, 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That I was focused on, well, man, I just need to make some money every week. So I wasn't focusing on the business. I just need some money. I just need some money every week. And when I talk to people, respectfully, right, who are new to crypto, some who are not new to crypto. Some people have been in crypto, right? They saw my channel, whatever, they've been in for a while. They still have the wrong mentality because they worry about some money. Well, man, when am I going to be able to take out some money? You're focused on the wrong thing. As long as you focused on the money, you'll never make it to this. And so we've had things where, well, here's the big one, man. I ain't know you, man. I didn't know you, man, when you had BNB, right? So I said, okay, all right, that's understandable. Well, check out this thing called Pancake Swap. All right, okay, yeah, okay, well, I follow you, all right. And we're literally buying Pancake Swap at 30 cents. It falls to 17 cents and they sell. It comes back to 30 cents and they sell. It goes to $1 and they sell. And I am screaming the whole time, just hold this. Just hold. I think this could be $5. I think it could be $5. Oh, man. All right. And everybody's like, yeah, okay, we're holding. And then I found out they weren't holding. And I'm like, well, man, damn, man, what's the problem? Like, all you have to do is nothing. Right? And then we can go on and on and on from there. Right? I introduce people to 100 at 300 something thousand market cap. Some people sold at 400, some people sold at 600, some people sold at $1 million, some people sold at 3 million. Why? Because they was worried about some money. We're not worried about the money. We want our freedom. We want our what okay, BSG, what do we want, man? We all want to make some money. What? Okay. If I had held BNB, now I'm just saying, again, let me put this out there. What I did with what I sold the BNB for is up more than what BNB is now. So I just want to make that clear. I still sold too early, but I've made more, right, going into Bitcoin basically. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, in that instance, that was the right move to make, right? I've been in this thing for a long time. There was a whole bunch of FUD around BNB and stuff like that, right? You know, like for real FUD, like dudes going to jail. That's FUD. This man going to jail and stuff. Okay, all right, right? But that being said, what we're looking to do is, you know, maybe back here you were broke. With your $1,000, you were broke. And maybe back here your rent was $1,000 a month. But you took one rent payment, hopefully not your actual rent payment, but you know what I'm saying. One rent payment, and now, years later now, your rent is now, let's just say, $2,000 a month to be fair, probably more than that. You can now pay your rent with 2 BNB. You bought 1,000 BNB back here. You can now pay your rent with 2. What does that mean? That means if BNB does not go up no more or down no more, right? You can pay your rent. Every year your rent is going to cost you 24 BNB. And if that's all you ever did and you never made any more money and so on and so forth, you could live off that BNB for 40 years. Now, if BNB goes up, if it doubles, right? Even if your rent goes up a little bit, now you can pay your rent with like 1 BNB. Right? And now, if you don't do anything else, you can pay your rent for 80 years. Now, in 80 years, if we still here, BNB ain't going to be 1271, bro. Okay? If crypto was still a thing in 80 years, BNB will not be 1271. This is the #1 exchange, one of the top blockchains. It's deflationary, et cetera, right? That's what we're trying to get. We're trying to get to where we can live off pieces. Bro, I pay my rent every month, just paid it. Right? I actually play games with my rent. The day that my wife goes to pay the rent, and I'm like, let's just wait a little bit. Let's wait a few hours. And at the time we were going to pay the rent, I want to say Bitcoin was 115, 116. And then later on that day, it was 118. I said, right? My rent just went down 2%. I said, let's wait a little bit more. And the next day it was 120. I said, all right, go ahead. Right? You can do that. I got 4% off my rent just because I waited. My rent goes up every year. Not going to tell you how much, but those 2 hours took care of a good chunk of how much my rent goes up every year. Living off pieces, bro. Pieces. This is what I've been screaming, y'all. And so this is prime example. If you weren't me, if you were scared, which is right, listen, BSG, bro, I've been in BNB, right, since 2017, man. I'm not just going to go and sell it. And okay, I hear you. I respect you. If you did that, right, you're still beating just about everybody else. Because you're giving CZ time. You're giving the BNB chain developers time. You're giving yourself time. You're also teaching the people around you, right, what to do. Right? All by doing what? Nothing. Holding. Nothing. And we're talking about $1,000. This is why I will constantly support crypto over stocks, because as I've shown you some of the top stocks, right? I could pull up Apple, right? Let's look at Apple real quick, because Apple will. You know what? I don't want to make it too long, so I don't want to do that. You do the research. Right? It takes 20, 30 years for you to get the type of returns that crypto can give you in a few years. By the way, 100 is up more than 100x in 2 years. I know most of y'all know that. So 100 is up more in 2 years, then gold is up, maybe all time. Okay? But you'll have people say, well, 100 is a scam, you should get into gold. When, to me, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm pretty confident in that. Gold is a bigger scam than XRP. Gold is a much bigger scam than XRP. Why I say that? Because this isn't backed by anything. There are no gold reserves anywhere that are backing this. None. This is total speculation, paper, right? And this is just like one thing that's, supposedly paired with gold. We're not talking about all the other gold ETFs and everything. Gold is a huge scam. It's not scarce, right? The people who got me into crypto think that the moon is full of gold and that there's enough gold in the moon that if, the gold in the moon were mine, then every person on earth would be a millionaire. Okay, now I don't know if that's true. I haven't been to the moon, right? But just from the fact that this goes up and down, there's been 2 major gold mines that were discovered. One in Ghana in the past 5 years. 2 of the biggest gold mines ever have been discovered. One in Ghana and one in China. And it did not affect the gold price at all. Right? You buy this, you don't have actual gold. This is a scam. Okay? But people will tell you to buy this, right? And not, buy crypto. This is why you're able to get the returns that you're able to get, because people will constantly fade this because they don't understand it. And that's why the opportunity is there. And it's there for people that have $1,000. And those are regular people. And those are the type of people that I like, because that's the street that I come from. The people who are buying BNB now and Bitcoin now, they don't have $1,000 per se. They might have, $1 million or 10 million, right? Who knows? Oh, they see the light now. Right? So, they had a chance to get in back here, but no, it's a scam back here. But up here, this is a good opportunity. Let me drop a few million. That's how it works. And crypto is the only thing that allows regular people to make money off of wealthy people. Right? Because if wealthy people actually knew what was going on back here, they would have bought and held as much as they could. That didn't happen. And that's what allowed people like me to get in. This is why I rebuff every time when somebody talking about, oh, the government created Bitcoin. No, the government did not create Bitcoin, bro. Did not happen. They wouldn't create something that competes with what they want ultimately, which is control. And if they did, they would have gave themselves 90% of the supply and gave pieces to the wealthy, and then you just had to get in where you fit in. Michael Saylor wouldn't be doing everything he could to catch up with Bitcoin if he knew the government created it way back here. He would have just went somewhere and bought Bitcoin over the counter. Hey, guys, give us some Bitcoin. I heard that you guys are behind this. Didn't happen. He has to buy it on the open market just like everybody else. And that's what allows regular people to get wealthy. When you get into stuff like this, and unfortunately I have to go back to this one more time, right? Understand that when you get in, when regular people like me and you get in this, the people who created this are already billionaires. They're already billionaires. So we're getting in after they've already become billionaires. Even if they get in this for, $1 or $2 or whatever the case might be, right? Do they tell you how many shares are here? I'm just curious to see if they tell you that kind of stuff here. And if they need more shares, then they just make up shares. They just add more. That's what those splits are about, right? Well, I don't see it here, but trust and believe, when Google hit $10, the founders of Google were already billionaires. $10, right? So, and now you still have people saying, oh, you should just buy stocks with Google is at $248. That's why stocks don't get you out of the matrix faster. They'll still get you out, You might not be okay, but maybe your kids might be okay in 30, 40 years. And that still beats all the people who just went to work and spent their money. So you will still win the game after 40 years. But trust and believe, it is Squid Game. It 1,000% is. And they don't want anybody, especially us, winning. They don't want regular folk. When I say us, I mean regular people. They don't want us to win. So why would they make something for us to win when they want us to be slaves to capitalism? They ain't behind that, bro. Right? So, I'm going to pin this one. I'm going to pin this video because I want people to see. I went through what you're going through now. I studied this thing. I studied like no other. I have shown you guys, this is the slow way. You can still win, but it's going to take you 30, 40 years. This is the slow way. This, even if it takes 10 years, this is the fast way. This is the fast way. I will continue to preach crypto, right? Hopefully you will continue to listen, right? A lot of people have not listened. And I want to commend you guys that are still here that are listening, right? Because you're going to win. And if I've helped you in any way, right, let other people know. Yo, man, this dude is out here trying to help people, right? Put it in the comments, right, if I've helped you at all. Because it's important for other people to know, right? Somebody out here trying to do something, and it's only because I failed. You have to keep that in mind. It's only because I failed more than you that I know the things that I know because of failure. If I had a BSG in my life, right, then I don't have to fail as much as I did. So I'm qualified to speak about it because I failed, and I'm like, yo, this ain't the way. This is the way. Holding. And by the way, I took myself out of poverty. By the way, I'm a millionaire. By the way, I've helped other people become millionaires by doing what? Holding. And you still have people that will fight me. Don't understand it. So it's important that people who have benefited step up and say, hey, you know, this brother's trying to do da 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 da. And I would expect you to do that for anybody. I'm not just saying that just because it's me. So what my goal is now, as most of you know, I am trying to find the next Bitcoin, the next BNB, the next 7-8 year journey. What's the next 7-8 year journey where you can put 1,000 and turn into 1 million? That's what I'm focused on now, right? And so when I bring stuff up and I talk about stuff, it's because I believe that could be one of those things. All right? It's your boy BSG. I'm going to holler at y'all in the next video.